Happy morning, dear friends. Here's yours, Dr. Ajanta. Welcome to Demystify with Ajay. Dear friends, we are in a generative AI series. Whenever we work with data in generative AI projects, we rarely find everything neatly packed in a single file. Instead, data comes from different sources. Of course, a CSV with user prompts, a JSON file with AI generated completions, another data set with human feedback scores, and maybe an embedded file with vector representation. So the real challenge is, of course, how do we bring all these pieces together into one unified data sets that's ready for training or evaluation? That's where Pandas data frame operations with the multiple table comes in. And dear friends, in this session, we will explore, yes, of course, how to add and append data with methods like append and concatenate. And of course, we have merge and join data frames using inner, left, or right and outer joins. And here we perform arithmetic and Boolean operations across two or more tables. Then we just align mismatched data sets to ensure they are consistent. Dear friends, think of it like building a team project. Everyone bring a different skill, but unless you align and merge their contribution, the final result won't be complete. In the same way, yes, Pandas lets us stitch different data sets into one strong foundation. So our generative AI workflow are never broken by scattered or mismatched data. Dear friends, we have acquired many features that allows to create, transform, subject the data frames to calculation and in some way interpret the data within them. And today in this session, we are just going to discuss adding data to a data frame and of course merging between two data frames. Dear friends, a fast and common methods to add data to a data frame is to insert value from another data frame or other series into them. The Panda library provides us with two different methods for this. One is append and next one is concatenate. Okay, in this session we will see that each of these two methods will allow you to add data separately. In fact, append is suitable for adding new data as a new rows of a starting data frame, while concatenate is suitable for adding new data as new columns of a data frame. Okay, let us just create some sample data frame that we will use to make example with this method. And yeah, here it's the one, dear friends, the data frame 1. Of course, we have seen a lot and discussed a lot related to this. Yeah, we are just going to create a randomly 4 into 4 matrix. And here it is our data frame 1. Let me just create something which is in zeros. And of course, it is of data frame 2. And kindly have a note of it. Yeah, here I have just customized the index as like ABCD for data frame 1. And of course, EFGH for data frame 2. Okay, by using this append, so what we are just going to do, kindly just observe, dear friends, the append method called on a data frame allows the addition of the data of a second data frame. So starting from the last row. So if the two data frames have a consistent structure, that is same label on the columns, we will have as a result a new data frame containing the values of both the source. That is both the source as a data frame and without any missing values. But here, yeah, kindly just have a note of it. This is what we are just going to have as an ABCD. That is the exact column. And here also the exact column is there. Once we append, kindly observe, once we append, how we just get? Yeah, here we just go. So without any missing values, yeah, without any NaN, that is not a number, is appeared as the data set. As we are having, both the things are with the same columns. Okay, yeah, fine. Let we just make one more thing. See, it is also possible to add a single series to a data frame. In this case, using the append method is like adding a row to the data frame, and it is in fact a great way to do it. Okay, so when done, we then define here, here it is a series with the elements to be inserted in a row and specify the exact labels. Okay, so as those of the columns of our data frame, so which we just have as like it. Okay, so here let me just create it as like a series. Okay, here it is our series, and dear friends, kindly just have a note of it. Everything would seem simple and linear, but if we add a series like the one just we created in the data frame, kindly have a note of what is going to happen. So see here, we get an error. So can apply only a series if ignore index is equal to true. Okay, so as we can see from the error message, if we want to add a series to a data frame, we will have to add the optional ignore index parameter. So set to be as like true. So among the argument passed to the append method, so we have to use this and or have a previously assigned name now, so which we just say that is an attribute to the series. So if we ignore the indexes, setting in ignore index is equal to true, we will have the additional of the series at the bottom. So kindly have a note of it, how it's just going to happen. So here we just go with the added series, and we will have the addition series at the bottom of the data frame. And dear friends, as we can see, the series have been added at the bottom of the data frame, but the index label have been lost, which are replaced by a sequence of integer generated by the default. So therefore, ignoring the indexes is certainly not an optional operation. So a better method will be define the name of the series during its creation. So if it is not already defined now, so then we can just make it. So here, of course, see here, when we just make use of this, here we are just going to give it a already defined things and then add it to the data frame. So note that the series name will become the index label of the corresponding row. So if you create a new series, specify name it with the desired label name, and here I have just passed a label name here as E, and let me just create it. So here the name E is there in the series, and we are just going to make use of the append, and let me execute it. And kindly just see here, dear friends. We have finally achieved the desired result. So very often you will use the existing and defined series elsewhere. If you don't want to use the current name, you can always rename it as you like. Okay, whichever you want, you can just like it. And here, even though if you want to just make it, here it is the series name is that. And of course, you can just append it. So here you can just make it this as your desired. It is up to you, dear friends. Whatever you want, you can always rename it as you like it. Okay, now let me just move on to one more thing, that is appending multiple series. See, extending the concept further, the append method allows you to add several series at the same time. In fact, you can pass a list of series as an argument. So this will be added as row to the data frame in the same sequence as the inserted list. And dear friends, actually in our example, we could insert 3 new rows to the data frame, adding an existing series and another 2 obtained by applying a simple arithmetic operations on the first one. So here, see here. So this is what the one series, and we are just going to apply some arithmetic operations, and we are just going to add it towards it. And now let me see here. So see here, this is what a new appending of multiple series to the data frame. Okay, now let me just move on to the concat. Okay, as for concat, the situation is different. So in fact, it is not a method, but a real function of pandas. So concatenate has no reference data frame from which to be called. So, but it is done directly from the library and accepts a list of the objects to be concatenated as an argument. So, if in our case we want to concatenate two examples, so here let I just make some our two data frames here. So one is df1, let I execute it. So this is what our df1 and here it is our df2. So of course, yeah, we have some data frames here, df1 and df2. So let we just concatenate it by using the concatenate method. So this is what concatenate method, and I'm just going to make df1 and df2 as the concatenated data frame, and here it is the result. So kindly just have a note of it, how it happens. So as in this case, we will have an identical result to the obtained with the append method. So except that in this case, it is possible to concatenate several data frames at the same time and not just two alone. Okay. So by inserting them in the sequence in a list that is passed as argument of the function, yeah, you can just make use of here. So df1, df2, again df1, yeah, you can also make use of the same thing. So kindly have a look how it happens. Okay, a huge data frame we just obtained. Yeah, dear friends, actually with this concatenator, that is actually, it is not a method, but it is also possible to concatenate together a data frame with series. So which we have occurred when we just made use of an append. Now we executed something that is different behavior compared to append. Okay, so in this case, the series will become a new column of the data frame. So here the name of the series will become the label of the column, and if the label of the series correspond perfectly to those of the rows of the data frame, so we will have a perfect concatenation horizontally. So see here, this is how our series is. So let me just have, this is our series, and we have already given a name as like E. And so kindly have a note of it. This is what, and before executing, so let I just have what is there in the df1. So we have done so many things in df2. So I just want to concatenate it with df1, and yeah, series, there we are just going to have it as like E as our column. So, and here I have specified the axis 1. Okay, so kindly have a note of it, axis 1, and here we just go with the result. So see here, it is a new column that is perfectly concatenated horizontally. And dear friends, this concatenation, yeah, we can also make it between data frames and series that are not homogeneous. Okay, so kindly have a note of here. Also with regards to this concatenate, if there is no perfect consistency between the row index of the data frame and those of the series, new rows will be generated with NaN values. That is not a number. Okay, values added where there was no correspondence. Okay, so let me just have that examples here. So see here, this is our series, and we are having 5 elements in this series, and of course 5 indexes, and let me just name it as like E. And yeah, here we just go. See here, dear friends, in this index we don't have the label B. Okay, so we don't have the label B, and to the same thing, of course, what we have just done is we are having only A, B, C, D in the data frame 1, so where we don't have the E and F concatenation. So in this case, a new column corresponding to the series is added, and its value are aligned with the corresponding label if present. So here we don't have the B, so here we just get it as N. So that is what, otherwise NaN value be added. Furthermore, if there are new labels in the series compared to those of the data frame, new rows are created in the data frame which is also with the NaN values. So the best way to manage them will then to be up to date to the user. So a better way to handle these inconsistent concatenation is to change the insert mode by setting the optional, that is join parameter to inner. So in this way, only the elements that have a concrete indexing correspondence between the data frame and the added series will be concatenated. So kindly have a note of it. Let me just make this as like an join here, and we are just going to make it as like an inner option. And when we just make here, so how it just going to happen? So see here, dear friends, this is how, which are all we are having common. So common things is, yeah, of course we have A, C and D from the DF1, data frame 1, and yeah, of course it is also present in the series. Okay, so let me just move on the next one as multiple concatenation. So however, if the data frame and the series have corresponding indexes, they can be chained together even alternatively. So by extending the data frame horizontally, so let me just make it here, dear friends. So DF1 series and again series 2. So here series 2, yeah, we are just going to make an arithmetic incremental 1, and the series 3 is arithmetic incremental 2 of this series, and again this DF1. So see how our resultant would be. Yeah, see here, dear friends. So ABCD. So till ABCD, it is the exact of element of DF1, that is data frame 1. And of course, this E is the series, and this is series 2. And next we have the incremental of 2 with series 3. And then again data frame 1. So this is how we can just make a multiple concatenation. Okay, dear friends, till now, yeah, we saw how the append and concat methods allow us to join together different objects such as data frame and series, both horizontally and vertically in a sequential way. But if on the other hand, our purpose of union is to merge them together rather than join them, the merging technique is the most suitable. Dear friends, this merge method, like concatenated, is also applied directly from the library and not on an instance of an object. And yeah, similar to this function also accepts as arguments the two objects to be merged, or rather on which to join. So which is nothing more than the, of course, SQL join. So anyone familiar with SQL and database will find the same logic applied to joins between SQL tables in the merge method. Okay, dear friends, of course, now let me just make use of the 4 different joins here: left join, right join, outer join and inner join. Yeah, these values are passed to the how parameter. So here we are just going to make it towards the how parameter to set the joining logic. And another parameter is on. On, it is actually used to indicate on which table it should be based. Okay, so let me just define 2 data frames containing random integer. Yeah, of course, with the shape of 4 into 4 matrix. And yeah, with both column and rows and columns labels that are inconsistent with each other. So here we just go with data frame 1 and data frame 2. And kindly have a note of it. The data frame 1, yeah, we just have A, B, C, D, and the data frame 2 is with B, C, D, E. Okay, so yeah, let me just have this merging. So first of all, we just go with left join. So here, let's first apply the joining between the data frames. By here, we are just going to pass the how is equal to left. And once I execute, I just make you the discussion. So see here what we just done. So see here, dear friends, from the result, you can just observe the first thing is, the row labels. Kindly just observe the row labels, which is the index. of the two data frames are not considered during the joining operations and are lost as information in the new data frame. So replaced by progressive numerical labels. And this will apply to all joining operations performed with the merge method. And furthermore, here the column A that is present only in the left, that is left join here. Kindly just observe, which we just made it in the above. Yeah. So, okay. So that remains unchanged. And column B, which is identical to that of the left data frame. Yeah. Which joining is based on. So here we have just done the joining is based on. And next one, the column CX, DX, CY, DY are four new columns derived from the joining the column CD of the two data frames. That is CX and DX have remained identical to those of the left data frame CY and DY, which are insert values only in these indexes that have the same values on B in both data frames. Dear friends, the values shown are those of the right data frame. For all the others, it is enhanced with NaN. Yeah, kindly just observe. And to the last, of course, the column E, that is the column present only in the data frame on the right, has the value only in the indexes that have the same value on B in both data frames. So all other values are enhanced with NaN, that is not a number. Okay, let me just go with the right join. So using the right join, right logic on joining, so the result is perfectly opposite to the previous. So first of all, I just execute here. So see here. So from the result, yeah, you can see column A, okay, which is present only in the left data frame, that has the value only in the indexes that have the same value on B in both data frames. All other values are enhanced with NaN. And column B, yeah, is identical to that of the right data frame. And next, this column C, column CX, column DX, column CY and column DY are four new columns derived from the joining the columns CD of the two data frames, where CY, DY remains identical to those of the right data frame. The CX and DX are insert values only in the indexes that have the same value on B in both the data frames. So the values shown are those of the left data frame. For all the others, it is enhanced with NaN. And last, coming to the column E, yeah, it remains unchanged here. Okay, now let me just move on to the outer. So another different behavior in which we join with outer logic. So kindly observe, it is a new thing. So here we go. So in this case, all the values present in the two starting data frames are reported in the new data frame. So the only fully valued rows are those that have the same value in the column B. Let us kindly observe. So every values in the B are same, in which all the values of the two data frames are shown on the same row. So we have we have an actually CX, DX with the values of left data frame, and CY, DY and E with the values of the right data frame. So where there is no correspondence between the two data frame in the column B. And yeah, other the things, yeah, we have just NaN values are reported. Fine. Now let me just move on to the merge or inner join. Okay, by applying the inner logic in the join of the two data frames, yeah, we obtain only the row or rows in which there was a correspondence between the two data frame on the column B, and all other information is excluded. Okay, all other informations are excluded. And yeah, dear friends, actually the inner logic is default of the merge method and may not even be explicitly expressed with the how parameter. Okay, yeah, dear friends, of course, yeah, in this session, we have just discussed about the case of append and concat. The resulting data frame will contain all the rows of columns from both data frames. However, in the case of merge, yeah, the resulting data frame will contain only the rows that have matching values in the specified columns or indices. And these operations are essential for combining and integrating data from the multiple sources or performing various data transformations. So by understanding how to use append, concat and merge effectively, you can manipulate and analyze complex data sets involving multiple data frames in Python by using these pandas. Dear friends, by now you should be perfectly familiar with working with two or more objects of this type, or the possibilities of being able to join two different data frames together, or that of adding series to any already existing data frame, or simple and fast method to add data to a data frame. And of course, dear friends, today in this session, we will see some possible operations between two or more objects, whether they are data frame or simple series. So dear friends, actually the data frames like series can be used as operands in normally arithmetic operations. So however, when these two types of structured data are operated on each other, being equipped with indexing, this characteristic must always be kept in mind during these operations. Okay, let me just start using two homogeneous data frames as operands. So we define two numerical data frames having the same structure. So one, it is of course the data frame 1, yeah, with the index ABCD and the columns also ABCD. Yeah, let me just define it randomly. And of course, let me just have one more data frame. So yeah, with the same structure, that is same index and column labels. So here we just go with the same index. So see here, ABCD and upper ABCD as the columns, of course. Okay, now with these two objects, it is possible to perform any arithmetic operations. For example, so they can simply be added together. Okay, so yeah, as very simple as like this. So in before that, just we want to know what is the exact value here. Okay, so 9065 in the A index and 8696 in the A index of data frame 2. So let me just make a simply adding together. So yeah, dear friends, observe here the A from the data frame 1, of course the 8 of data frame 2 has been added, and here we just get the value 17. Okay, so of course, yeah, every value whichever we just have, see, kindly just have a note of it. It is 0 and plus 6, we just get the value 6, and correspondingly 6 and 5. Here it is 9 and 6. Yeah, we just get 15 and 11. Of course, every values are just a simple adding together of data frame 1 and 2. And yeah, let me just put them within some arithmetic expressions also. Yeah, here we just go with, yeah, we want to have the subtractions of data frame 1 and twice the data frame 2. Okay, so of course the exact value of data frame 2 has to be multiplied by 2, and then it has to be subtracted. That is a difference. Find the difference between that exact resultant of data frame 2 and with the data frame 1. Of course, we just get some values that also being in negative 2. Okay, so let me just do some Boolean arithmetic operations. So kindly have a note of it. Either we want to identify data frame 1, the values in the data frame 1 is greater than data frame 2. So if we are just going to have a small comparison, so kindly have a note of it. 9 is greater than 8, 9 is greater than 8, of course it is true. And of course 0 is greater than 6, of course it is false. So yeah, of course we are just going to get it in the Boolean expression as a true or false. So kindly have a note of it. Yeah, so in all these cases, we observe the same behavior whether we are dealing with arithmetic expressions or Boolean expressions. So the calculations are applied by taking a single element of first data frame and the corresponding in the second data frame. So the elements are calculated one at a time gradually up to the last element present in both the data frames. And that is the operations or gradually up to the last element, that is performed element by element. And yeah, in the end the result is in the data frame with the same dimension and the same structure of the two operands. So two operands is data frame 1 and data frame 2. Okay, so we saw two data frame with the same structure operator that is between the first data frame and the second data frame. Okay, now yeah, the element correspond to each other and are used in the arithmetic and Boolean expression individually and then reported in the new resultant data frame. But what if the data frame didn't have an equivalent structure? So yeah, let me just see some two non-homogeneous data frame as operand. So kindly have a note of it. Here what we have, the column is, so kindly just observe the column A, B, C, D, and here the data frame 2, the column is B, C, D, E. Okay, so let me just execute it. And of course, so if we perform an arithmetic operation between the two of this type, okay, what we just get, so if we are making an arithmetic expression, so kindly observe, dear friend, the same thing which I just applied previous, now here for two non-homogeneous data frame. And yeah, data frame operands as data frame 1 and 2. So let I just make the arithmetic. So kindly have a note of it. We can see from the result that the calculations are made only for the column in the common between the two data frames. So yeah, of course we have BCD from data frame 1 and BCD from data frame 2. And of course we just get NaN in the column A of data frame 1, and from E, that is from data frame 2, we just get the NaN of the E column. Okay, so the columns that do not have a counterpart in the other data frame or in any cases added to the result but are valued with the NaN value, that is not a number, or you can just specify it as like a missing value. Okay, same goes for the lines. So if we perform some arithmetic operations between the two data frame that have only some labels in common, we are just going to make some operations. So kindly have a note of it, what we are here to do. So yeah, A, B, C, D here exact, but this exact index is B, C, D, E. Okay, so now let me just execute and find what would be the data frame 1 and data frame 2 arithmetic operation. So kindly just have a note of it here. Of course, the column are same, A, B, C, D here and A, B, C, D. But what about the index? So see here we have A, B, C, D, and to the data frame 2 it is B, C, D, E. Now let me just apply an arithmetic operations to this functionality. And yeah, here too only the rows that have a common labels between the two data frames are taken into consideration for the calculations. So whereas the unmatched rows in the other data frame are added to the result but valued with the NaN, which we just say is that is a missing value or not a number value. Okay, now let me just make one more functionality. See here, dear friends, if instead we take into consideration the arithmetic operations between a data frame and a series. So the element of the series will be calculated with corresponding element of each single row of the data frame. So yeah, for that, yeah, let me just go with one data frame here, and the next one, it is the series. Okay, let I just execute here. And dear friends, kindly just observe when we just do the operation between a data frame and a series. And yeah, let I execute here. So as we can see the result, yeah, the four element of the series are calculated. The four element of the series are calculated for each row of the data frame. Each row of the data frame. So here too the labels of the index of the series will have to correspond with the labels of the column of the data frame. Otherwise, there will be added in the result with the value. Okay. So yeah, let me just make that also here. So how this can happen? So this example, yeah, to this previous, yeah, we are having the same column. So kindly just observe. So here we are having ABCD, and towards this also an ABCD. So yeah, when we just make it, kindly just observe the column here is ABCD, but towards the series it is BCDE. So when we just make it in that manner, what would be the resultant here? So observe, dear friend. Yeah, of course, they will be added in the result with the value of NaN. That is only the values which have the common labels between them. Between the data frame and the series have been done the operation. So otherwise, it is with the NaN value, that is the missing value. Okay, now let me just move on to make a binary arithmetic method. Dear friends, in addition to the classic arithmetic operation that are expressed in the Python by using the symbols as like plus or minus or multiplication as like asterisk or slash, the Panda library provides a set of relative methods to be applied to data frame to perform binary operations. So by using the method as like plus, so see here, this is the exact plus. Of course, we are just going to make use of add, sub, MUL for multiplication, div for division. Okay, so these methods, you can somehow manage the behavior of these operations, which is not possible with the corresponding arithmetic operator. So in fact, using these methods, you can choose whether to use the match on the label of index or on those of the columns, though the optional access parameter. Okay, so to see how these function works, okay, let's first create two data frame containing random integer here, and the two data frames do not have all corresponding index values, that is index labels. So while they will have the same column labels, so yeah, of course, these column labels are same, but the index labels are different. So let me just create it first. Of course, here we just go, and yeah, we are just going to make the binary method and arithmetic operators. Okay, as we have seen the functions of binary operations corresponding to the arithmetic functionalities. If we want to add two data frames together, yeah, we are just going to use add function here. Okay, add method. So this is a method. Okay, So this method, what it just happens, yeah, this add method is exactly equivalent to the arithmetic sum between the two data frames. Of course, we are just going to have the addition of two data frames. Let I just have a small scroll above. So kindly just see here. Wherever we are having the common elements, of course, we are just getting the values, and the uncommon things, yeah, we are just getting the NaN value. Yeah, the same goes for operations between the data frames and the series. Yeah, before that, let I just make the addition, how it happens. Yeah, both are the same. Both the values are the same thing. Okay, now let me just move on to the data frame and the series. Yeah, in this case, dear friends, actually we will have consistent results only if the labels of the series correspondent to the labels of the column of the data frame to some extent. Okay, so here it is the series, and yeah, kindly observe ABCD is the exact index. And if I just want to make use of the add method and the plus method, I'm just going to apply both the things. So see here what we are going to have with the arithmetic and to that of binary values. Okay, so the exact result, how it is shown is, yeah, it is perfectly identical to the one which we are obtaining with both arithmetic operator and to the binary functionalities. Okay, dear friends. Now, let we just, so as we saw in the previous example here, yeah, the behavior between this arithmetic operator and to the corresponding method is identical. So, the values of the series are summed with the corresponding element on each row of the data frame. So why use these method where when there are arithmetic operators that could do the same thing? So here, yeah, of course, I want to specify, yeah, using the methods for binary operations, you can vary their behavior depending on the positional or behavior onto that optional parameter specified. For an example, so let me just make use of that axis is equal to 1. Yeah, of course, you can vary the application of the operator by column or by row. So in fact, inserting the parameter axis, yeah, and specifying a series with the label in a manner consistent with other in the index of the data frame. Yeah, how we are just going to apply it. Yeah, kindly have a note of it here, dear friends. So this is what the series, and here we have done the axis is equal to 0, and yeah, it has been added here. And if I just make this one simple, so see here how it happens. So of course, with this axis is equal to 0, yeah, it is able to make it here with the index ABCD. So it is just getting it towards the addition of the data frame 1. So let me have a look of to the data frame 1 where it is. Yeah, I just scroll above here. Yeah, this is what the data frame 16676 and 7281. So let me have a view of it now. And yeah, so if we just make it 1 2 3 4, yeah, we just get the exact value of each and every elements. But when we just do it with an arithmetic, so how it happens? So yeah, this is what the main difference between an arithmetic operators and to the binary. So the value present within the series will be summed with the correspondent element present in the each column. So this is the difference behavior from the one which we just seen previously. So which differs significantly from that of the correspondent arithmetic operations. Okay, now dear friends, another optional operators that can be used with this type of function is level. So which will be very useful in the case of multi-index data frames. In this regard, yeah, we define a multi-index data frame with a 2 level for each dimension. That is 2 for the column and 2 for the rows. Okay. So yeah, here we just go with the multi-dimensional. So here the higher the value xy and the lower the value it is ab, and here the higher the first value it is xy, and towards the second level of value it is they are lowercase ab. Okay, so yeah, let we just, in addition, we will assign the names to various level of indexing. So here we have assigned it, and now let we just make, so we can choose the indexing level. Okay, so indexing level in which to operate the operations. So adding the name of the indexing level. So see here, dear friends, here it is the indexing level. So adding the name of the indexing level to the optional level parameter. So for example, we can subtract the value of the series from the indices corresponding to the second indexing level of the columns. So in this case, if we just specify the level is equal to low, so we are just going to make it a subtraction of to the lower level. So yeah, what we just get it, kindly just observe. Yeah, dear friends, kindly just observe. Yeah, as we can see, the element of the series are 2 and corresponding to the label of the low level of the columns. So therefore, for each row of the data frame, the element of the series will operate twice. Once for the grouped level X and once for the grouped level Y. Okay, if we instead, let me just make it if we want to apply the operations onto that first level, yeah, let me just make it towards the level high. Okay, so let me make it how it happens. So see here, dear friends, in this case, the subtraction behavior is quite different rather than to the above. So kindly just observe, it is quite different. Both values under the X label are subtracted from the first level in the series. So while those from the Y label are subtracted from the second value. So here, of course, the exact result is different. So therefore it is different. So let we just make it some more operations here. So by combining the optional parameter level, okay, so yeah, with access, let me make use of it. Okay, so this time you can work on the row indexes acting to the second level. So row here it is access is equal to 0 and the level is second level. So let me just see how it happens. Okay, so see here how it is much different. So when we just make use of rather making into the column, here we are just making it into that of indices, that is of row wise. Okay, yeah, now yeah, you can act at the first level also with the same indexes, that is access is equal to 0. So of course what we just get. So see how this multi-indexing is working on. So things get more complex when we perform the previous operations between two data frames. So for example, if we use a data frame instead of the series containing in addition to the column and row indices of the multi-index data frame. Okay, so other further indexes, how it just works. So okay, let me just make use of the this exact data frame and see here what we have just made it. Yeah, index A is equal A and B and towards the column AB. So now let me just create this exact data frame and we consider a data frame that is in any case consistent with the label used at the various indexing levels. Okay, so here indexing levels, let me just make it here as axis is equal to 1 and level is equal to also 1. Okay, so now let me just execute here. Yeah, dear friends, kindly just observe in this case the data frame used as the second operator corresponds to the subset of the multi-indexed data frame. So whose values are added 4 times as many as they are corresponding subset in the multi-index. That is this x of this x which we just specified, and towards the same x towards the y in the column, and next y from the row and x towards the column, and y towards the row and y towards the column. Okay, now let me just move on to the next functionality. It is operator, that is arithmetic operations between a subset of the same data frame. Okay, always remaining in the context of binary methods, a common operator is to use a subset of the original data frame, so as an operand to be applied in the calculation. So in fact, columns and rows of the data frames are often used as operator to be used for arithmetic calculation. So here, let extract a row and a column. Okay, so let me extract a row and a column from a data frame. Okay, so of course, what is the exact data frame? First of all, let me just make use of the data frame 1. And here it is the exact data frame. Now let me extract the rows and column from here. Okay, so this is what the one row, that is 0 indexes. So 6676, that is what here it's that. And next let me have a column A. Of course, here what we just have is 6732, that is the column A. Okay, so these subset that can be used as an operand in the operations on the same data frame. So if we just do, so kindly see here, dear friends, what we are applying. We are making a multiplication operation. Okay, so we are making a multiplication operation. And of course, you can just make it apply onto the column here and here towards the row. So kindly just observe what is the exact difference from each of the things. So here it is column towards the column, and the axis is equal to 0. And when you just make it towards the multiplication onto the row wise, here axis is equal to 1. Okay, now let me just make the same arithmetic operation between subset of different data frames, not the same data frame. Here let me just make it a different data frame. So here I'm just going to give 2 data frames. Okay, so let me just have the data frame 1 and the data frame 2 here. So let me just have the extraction of column of data frame 2A. Okay, so how this happening? So kindly just observe, dear friend. I'm just going to give here. So you are able to observe now, and I'm just going to extract. So depending on the labels here, I'm just going to extract the location, that is LOC, from the exact AB, the column. And the next one, it is just going to make the multiplication. So first let me extract here. What we have here, we are extracting a data frame. So this is what the subset from the data frame 1. And here we are just going to make it multiplication operations towards the column onto this data frame. Okay, and with the axis 0. And depending on the labels present in the subset indices, if there is no correspondence between the two operators, that is rows or that column, that may be valued with NaN. That is what here it is specified. Okay, so to complete the picture of methods that replace mathematical operators, there are something called relative methods. So relative operators. So here what with the exact operators, it would be as like the addition. Here we just specify RADD, and of course here one among the things I have just given is related to the division. So addition with OR and subtractions with OR, multiplications with OR, and to the same divisions with OR. Yeah, these operators are useful when a different value is produced depending on the order of the operands. So in fact, for an example, let me just make according to the division method. Okay, it is possible to express here with the division operations with the numerator data frame. Okay, so here if we just making it, so kindly observe. So this is what our data frame, and when we just make the division with 1. Okay, so as like an numerator is the data frame and denominator division with 1, and kindly just observe, dear friends, if we just do a relative binary here, relative binary, I am just specifying it RDIV. Okay, so let I execute here. So if the data frame must be replaced in the denominator, okay, so here we have to specify in the denominator, it will be possible to transcribe the mathematical operation in the form of method. So only by using RDIV, that is the simple thing. Okay, so in which the order of the operand is inverse compared to the previous phase. So previous it is df by 1, and of course here we just get 1 by df. So this is how we just get the exact resultant, dear friends. And yeah, regarding the data frame, as for the arithmetic operators, the same speech can be done with the Boolean operators also. So Boolean operator as like equal to, not equal to, greater than or less than, so on or there, applicable between two data frames objects. And yeah, let me just first create a small things with two data frames, and here it is randomly specified with 4x4 space shape of it. So here we just have a two data frame 1 and 2. So when we just apply, so when we just make an operations between that two data frame, that is Boolean operator. So by making a comparison between two data frames having the same structure, we expect as a result, so a data frame of Boolean values. So here when we just make it here, so kindly just observe, dear friends. So in which for each element we have the true value when the Boolean condition is satisfied and false when it is not. So let me execute here. Yeah, see here. So if it is, so data frame 1, so let me just have 6 is greater than 2. Yeah, it is true. So we just get it. And 4 is greater than 5. No, it is not. So we just get false. So that is what the exact we have the true value when the Boolean condition is satisfied and the false when it is not. Okay, so as we have already seen previously, there is this Boolean condition or grade for a particular section. That is, for an example, if we want to select only the elements that meet that condition. So in that manner, if I just want to make here, so kindly just have a note of it, if it is meeting towards the condition. So how it happens? Yeah, of course. If it is not, we just get that NaN to be present. So kindly just observe towards the above. So wherever we just get the absolute functionalities, yeah, we just get it as like NaN. So wherever it is applicable. Okay, now like the arithmetic operators that have a corresponding binary method, for the Boolean operator, there are a whole series for corresponding method as like equal, not equal, greater than, less than, or less than equal to, greater than equal to. So let me these in the same way, let me just apply it as a Boolean operator. And here, yeah, we are just going to have the LT, that is less than method. Okay, so let I just first execute it. So see here, dear friends, as we can see, by applying the less than method, we get the same result as the corresponding that which we just have the above less than method. So see here how it happens. So here too, however, we find ourselves with a more flexible method than the corresponding Boolean operators and their behavior can. So therefore, we refine to work with complex data frame or complex such as data frames or series. And here too, the same rules explained in the previous sections that applies with the use of the optional access, that is also can be done. So and level parameter can also be used, so particularly useful with multi-index data frame and between a data frame and a series. Yeah, that can also be applied, dear friend. And dear friends, by now you have seen how pandas make it easy to combine, align and compute across multiple data frames. So whether you are appending rows or concatenating multiple tables, merging with joins or aligns mismatched data, these operations gives you the power to transform raw, fragmented source into a well-structured data set. And in the context of generative AI, these skills are indispensable. You might append new batches of prompt completion pair as your dataset grows. So you might merge model outputs with human feedback to build a reinforcement learning dataset for RLHF. So you might align embedding with captions IDs or metadata for retrieval augmented generated system. Or you might run arithmetic comparison between different model generations to analyze accuracy, length or sentiment scores. So this is the invisible backbone of AI development. Because generative AI projects don't just depend on great models, they depend on cleanly merged, consistent, aligned data. So as you move ahead, remember dear friends, every join, every merge and every alignment step is a building block towards a more reliable, powerful and production ready AI system. And that's why mastering data frame combination is a must for anyone working at the intersection of data science and generative AI. And dear friends, if you found this session helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to stay tuned for the next session in generative AI journey. And hit the bell icon so you never miss a chance, and see you in the next session. Happy learning.